Welcome to the Inspire Weight Loss Davy podcast. Drug-free, sustainable, life-changing weight loss. Here's your host, Martha Savloff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire Weight Loss Davy podcast. We are back for another episode. I'm excited to get into this topic that we're going to talk about today. Martha, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Wolf, of course, and obviously your host, Martha Savloff, is with us. So, Martha, I do not suffer from this next problem that we're going to talk about, but it is a problem for some, and it does have profound implications on your health. Folks that do not eat enough.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little bit, or why don't we have a conversation around not consuming enough food and nutrients and what that does ultimately to your health moving forward?
Yeah. I'm super passionate about this topic. And one of the reasons why is because that's part of my story where I gained all my weight from not eating enough.
Which is totally counterintuitive, right? You wouldn't think that you could possibly gain weight from not eating enough, right?
Yeah. Out there, people think that, if you don't eat, you lose weight. And if you eat a lot, it's like, no. Wait a second. If you do not eat enough, you can gain weight. And if you eat too much, you can gain weight. So there's like always a healthy balance in the middle, right?
So but I'm confused though. If you're not eating enough, where is the excess weight coming from? If not from overtake of or over, so what I'm looking for, over influx of calories, right? How does that, walk me through that? Cause I'm a little confused.
Yeah. So what happens is, our bodies are like beautifully wired and programmed to just burn food for us, right? And provide energy to our bodies. And when we're not eating enough, like our bodies, and we're working, we're doing this, we're doing that, we need energy and our body has to produce it from somewhere. But what happens in many cases is that when we have a lack of food in our system, our body says, wait a second, I don't know when, Martha's going to feed me again. So I'm going to need to go into storing mode. I'm going to store whatever I can so that when Martha needs energy, I can just grab from there.
It's like hibernation mode.
So it's hibernation mode. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what happens is there's two things that happens. You store, so you grow and you gain, but also you lose muscle mass too, because your body has to burn something. And so there's like all sorts of things that's happening in your body. So not eating enough is super unhealthy for you.
So just to unpack that, what you're saying is that when you're not eating enough, when you do eat, the body, instead of actually applying that to the normal metabolic processes, it actually just stores it because it's expecting not to be fed enough. And that will back up and ultimately cause a lot of problems, including weight gain and muscle mass deterioration and all sorts of stuff.
And all sorts of things, obviously,
that makes sense.
Obviously everybody's different. And, but, you can develop gastric issues. There's just so many things that comes with not eating enough. And I have to say, Jeremy, that most of the cases that come through our door, people are not eating enough. And people sit in front of me and like, I don't understand. I don't eat and I'm gaining weight. And then we have to explain to them that this is why. And then we have to work really hard to get them to eat. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm going to a weight loss center and you're making me eat? And I'm like, yes, yes, we need you to eat. So it's very, very, it's a problem in our society. And one of the reasons why is because everything is a priority before what our bodies need. And I was super guilty of that. Like I will go all day without eating. And then what happens is, Jeremy, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I'm starving. And so guess what we do? We go to the quickest thing we can get in our mouth. Like what's around us? Is there a drive-through? What's in the pantry? What can I cook really quickly? So it's usually not the best, food for us to eat. So now we're gaining from not eating. And then now when we do eat, we're fueling our body with overprocessed foods and whatever it is that's fast, because we're like starving. Now we're hangry.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like a vicious cycle. So people, and I'm not being judgy, I did it myself. I'm like super guilty of this, put everything else a priority over their bodies. And then we're fatigued. We're not feeling well. We have to, take care of this, that, and another. So now we're just drinking coffee all day just to make it through, trying to take care of our kids and our family and our, the soccer games and the doctor's appointments and all of these things that are part of our life takes priority. And then you find yourself like, man, I'm tired. My body's tired. I'm gaining weight. My knees are hurting. My back is hurting. I'm not sleeping good at night. It's just a whole ball. It's a snowball effect.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to, like with anything else in life, creating habits for success and creating routines, having meals at the same time. I'm as guilty as anyone in this Western society. We live in this fast-paced life, getting things on the fly, but to get up at the same time every morning, at least during the week, and then have a routine in the morning and make sure you sit down for that breakfast, whether it's 7:30, 8, whatever it is, the same time every day, and having a portion control, because you can't just eat. For me, it's like I just eat until I'm completely full, and that's way too much, right? We did an episode before about portion control and mapping that all out, and I feel like having that prepared every week, right? Having something made for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or having a plan at least having, when you go to Publix to shop for dinner, at least having a menu set if you're going to cook, and buy the ingredients for the dishes that you're going to make. And that will actually prompt you to want to make the food that you prepared, instead of doing what I do, which is just buying the same thing at Publix every time and then hoping that I cook something. So it's important to map all that out, I'd imagine.
Right, for sure. And, we're super good at mapping things out for our employer, mapping things out for our children, mapping things out on different things for our church or whatever else we do in our lives. And the last person that we do it for is ourselves.
Yep.
And let me tell you that whoever's listening needs to understand that they need to do that because at one point in their life, they're going to have to, because it's going to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Like it did to me. So 42 years old, I was super sick. My gut system was a mess. My sciatica was hurting. I was 42 going on 80. And I was like, man, I got to do something, because I want to be alive for my grandkids. And I want to be youthful in my latter years, because instead of going from doctor appointment to doctor appointment, I want to go from, to country traveling. I want to go from travel to travel, this country and that country, then doctor appointment to doctor appointment. And so I had to face that at 42 years old. So it'll catch up to you. And so, it doesn't take that long to make a plan for yourself and make a plan for your kids, because if you're doing it for yourself, you're also, most of the time, our kids are also following the same structure that you have for yourself,
100%. Yep.
And I wish I knew what I know now when my kids were younger, because I didn't. And I raised them not great eaters. And now we're, doing better, thank God. But so, yeah, so there's a snowball effect that not only affects yourself, but also your children and your family. So not eating enough is not good for you. Now, there's ways that, like, there's intermittent fasting is actually good for you, but you have to know how to do it, and you need to know if that's really what your body needs or your body responds well to. So that's where Inspired Weight Loss comes in, and like, okay, so let's talk. Let's look at your body type. Let's look at your fat mass. Let's look at your metabolic age. Let's look at your lifestyle. We put all that together and figure out like which is the best, way to get you to eat. And so we do that. Yeah. It's an issue in our society for sure, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the approach that you guys take. It's not just about the diet. It's not just about the exercise. It's a holistic, a whole body mindset approach to wellness. And you are, of course, doing wonderful work over at Inspire Weight Loss, Martha.
Thank you. And you know what? Now one of the things that's happening in society is that people are eating a lot of prepackaged meals because they want to eat, but because they're so busy doing everything else, they're like, well, how can I feed my body the most efficient and easiest, right? And we have to be careful with that because prepackaged meals are not always whole foods. So they have to be very picky about which ones they choose. And so I want to just share that with the world that although I'm very happy that you want to eat, just make sure that when you do, you're feeding your body whole foods. That the way that we say it on Inspire is that's giving you life. You're feeding your body life. So make sure you're feeding your body, number one, and make sure you're feeding your body life, because there's a lot of foods out there that are not. And we can talk about that in another episode.
All right. Sounds good. Martha, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
You as well.
And everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Inspire Weight Loss Davy podcast. To get your journey started, visit inspireweightloss.com or contact 954-837-8811.